Hello everybody and welcome back to Steve's Gear. And today we're going to take a look at a new knife I picked up. So I actually got this one a couple weeks ago. Now this is my first Chaves knife. So never owned one before. I'm not super versed on Chaves knives. So if I say something is wrong or, maybe incorrect, feel free to, correct me in the comments. Now I picked up the Redencion street version of the Blue Label. I didn't even know this knife existed. I happened to be browsing a knife website. And all of my experience with Chaves knives are just watching them on YouTube. And I've always seen like the titanium versions. And so I didn't know this one was out. And when I saw it, first I kind of looked at the pictures. I didn't watch any videos or anything. I just looked at the pictures. I knew there was going to be some things that I wasn't sure if I was going to like and some things I was going to like. So I just took a chance and bought it. And so I'm just going to make a quick video here. Well, hopefully kind of quick. It's not going to be a full review, even though I've had it for a few weeks. I haven't carried it a whole lot. I've been traveling for work some and things like that, so I haven't had it in my pocket all the time. But I just wanted to do kind of an overview in case you've never heard of this one, or maybe you're in the market for this one. This video may help you in some way. So let's take a look at it. First off, you get this, pretty nice box, Chaves knife box here. Inside, it does have a little foam padding here. Now, it does actually come, this pocket clip does come installed, the standard clip, but you get a skull clip in the box. I've already swapped them. You get a few little accessories in the bottom of the box. You get a Chaves branded microfiber, pretty cool. And then you get a couple stickers down there at the bottom. So a few little accessories in there. It's kind of nice. They include both of the pocket clips as well. Now let's take a look at the knife here. So like I said, I didn't know that the Blue Label existed. All of my experience with Chaves knife was watching videos was all of the titanium versions. And I've always liked the styling. I just never got around to picking one up. I knew that they probably weren't going to be the most efficient knives for me. They're typically a little bit more bulky. And, I typically go for a little bit thinner, slicier type knives. So, but I do like them. I like the aesthetics. I like the way they look. And I've always wanted to try one. So the Blue Label kind of had a few things that I liked about it. One is it does have these micarta scales. Now the Blue Label, it's got a few cuts in the budget compared to the the titanium version. But I'm not a titanium snob. I do like it, but I like micarta too. So I don't really see it as a big downgrade for me personally using micarta. Now the blade steel on this one is LMAX instead of M390. I've never had an LMAX knife before. This is my first one, so I can't say if it's good or bad. I've always heard good things about LMAX, so I don't really consider that a big con for me personally. I think it'll work pretty good. Still some really, really nice looking grinds on this. I think this blade looks amazing. I really, really like it. Now the blade stock thickness, according to the specs, looks like it is thinner than a typical Chaves knife. This one comes in at 0.125 thickness. So it's not a thin knife by any means, but it's not as thick as your traditional Chaves. You still get some really, really beefy thumb studs there. I do like them. I really like those thumb studs. Some pretty aggressive jumping here in the back. A lot of my knife videos, I always say I like aggressive jumping, and this is about as aggressive as it gets, and I love it. I love that jumping. It's really, really good. Now, some things I wasn't sure if I was going to like is one, the steel liners. It's got full steel liners. There's no weight reduction or anything in them. They're just full steel. And they stick up kind of proud over the scales. Now, typically in the past, I've had some knives like that, and I haven't really liked that. But this, it doesn't feel bad. It's rounded just enough where it's comfortable. I don't feel them poking my hand. I don't even really notice it when I'm holding them. So it doesn't bother me at all. Another thing was these scale screws are proud also. They stick up over the scales. I didn't know if I would like that. And, it's not bad. I can tell they're there a little bit, but they don't create a hot spot. They don't poke me. They don't bother me or nothing. So I don't really mind it. I kind of find myself just, kind of already used to it. So that part's not too bad. As far as being a liner lock versus a frame lock, I don't have no problems with liner locks. This one seems to work really well. Locks up pretty early. Good access to it. It's a nice smooth lock bar. It's kind of rounded a little bit on there, so it's not sharp. Detent on it is phenomenal. I wouldn't say it's a stiff detent, but it's stiffer than some of my other knives. It almost feels kind of automatic once you get past that detent, and I really, really like it. Most knives, I prefer to reverse flick on a lot of knives. And this one, you can do it. Works just fine. but I almost enjoy the thumb flick better on this one than reverse flicking it, which is uncommon for me at least. A lot of the knives I like the reverse flick. So really good detent on it. I think that Riot did a good job, getting that just right. Super smooth. It's on bearings. I don't know if it's fall shut, but it is very, very smooth. Yeah, it's almost fall shut. So, I haven't messed with it. I haven't tuned it. I haven't oiled it. I haven't done anything. I've just right out of the box. So it is very, very smooth. Pocket clip. I was always kind of curious if these Chaves clips were stiff, and it's not too stiff. It goes in and out of my pocket just fine. No problems at all. I still think that's one of the best looking pocket clips out there. I really like it. It does have a G10 backspacer back here. It doesn't look bad. It kind of fits in with it. It kind of blends in. The G10 backspacer doesn't really bother me too much. Now, I didn't mention the price on this. This comes in at $165. Now, you can get the regular 229. Kind of the size is a little bit bigger than this one for $180. But I like the street version size. This one comes in at a blade length of 3.20 inches with a cutting edge of 3 inches. Overall length on this is 7.25 inches, and that falls to right about what I like. I brought a couple knives out here just to compare it to real quick. So I brought the pair of 3. Some of them are going to sit kind of funny because I've already switched the clip over on a couple of them to left-handed carry. And I got the Osborne 940. I'll try to kind of line up the pivots a little bit here. So you can kind of see how that fits in there with the Osborne and the pair of 3. We'll pull the pair of 3 out, and we'll bring in the small Sabenza. So, it kind of fits in line. It's pretty close to the small Sabenza, pretty close to the pair of 3. It is a little bit shorter than the 940, but it's right in that ballpark of knife size that I like. Now, obviously, this one has a little bit bigger of a blade than some of those, and I do kind of like that blade. I think it looks really good. I think it's a really cool grinds on it. It kind of has the stone wash kind of in a section here with the kind of the belt satin belt finish there. I don't know how well it's going to show up in the light, but yeah, it's a cool finish. It looks really good. Pretty clean, just says LMAX on that side with the Chaves logo on that side. But it is a nice looking knife. And, if you're like me, you've never tried a Chaves knife, you've always been kind of interested in it. And, if you're looking for titanium and you appreciate that about Chaves knives, that they're titanium, then yeah, get one of those. But if you just want to try the style, maybe kind of like the feel of one, and you don't mind micarta, I think these are great. For $165, I think it's pretty good. LMAX, I can't say how good it is. I've never used it. You can feel free to leave in the comments how well you like LMAX, but I think it'll be fine. I'm not a heavy-duty user. Typically like S30V is fine for me, so I'm sure LMAX will be great. I do have some knives in M390, and I know that's a great steel, so, that's obviously probably a better steel than this, but I don't think I'm ever going to notice a difference between LMAX, and probably a lot of people wouldn't normally anyways, but action's great. Came centered up, perfectly centered, no blade play or anything. It's super tight, locked up really, really good. So craftsmanship on it is great. For me, I like it. I like the fit and finish of it. I like the looks of it. I like the action. The action's great. I really like that stiffer detent. It's been a while since I've had a knife that has a stiffer detent, and I've kind of missed it. So it's not overly stiff, like it, hard to use, but very, very good thumb flicker. So yeah, that's just kind of a quick look at the Chaves Redencion Blue Label Street version. If you haven't seen it before, take a look at it. Let me know in the comments if you own one, or if you're thinking about picking one up. I'd love to hear. Now, they have the Blue Label in a couple different models. I'm not super familiar with all of them. I think one of them is the TAK, and they have it in the model that's like the little utility blade style. I can't remember what that's called, but they do have the Blue Label of that one as well. So check it out. Maybe you'll find one that you would like. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.